My wife tried to frame me for cheating so she could break our prenup and take everything. She called me disgusting, said her mother had warned her about me, and confidently filed for divorce. I stayed quiet. Then she presented the fake evidence she created herself and watched her entire case collapse in court. Hello, Reddit. I plus here. My name is Grant Mercer. I'm 38 years old, and for the last decade I've worked in digital forensics, helping corporations uncover fraud, data theft, and internal sabotage. My entire career was built around one simple rule: trust evidence, not emotions. It's ironic because the one person who almost destroyed my life was the person I trusted most. My wife Selena was 34 when everything fell apart. When we met, she seemed different from everyone else. She laughed at people obsessed with status. She talked about simple living, road trips, and someday owning a little cabin near a lake. She said money changed people and that she'd never let it change her. I believed her. 3 years later, we got married. Before the wedding, I asked her to sign a prenup. Nothing extreme, no hidden traps, just one clause. If either spouse cheated or intentionally sabotaged the marriage through deception, the innocent party would receive the overwhelming majority of marital assets. The agreement protected both of us equally. Selena hated it. She cried, argued, accused me of planning for divorce before we were even married. Eventually, she signed. Looking back, I think that was the moment she started resenting me. For the first year, everything seemed normal. Then subtle changes appeared. She became obsessed with our finances, how much was in my investment accounts, what properties I owned before marriage, what my consulting contracts were worth. Questions that sounded innocent until they never stopped. Whenever I asked why she cared so much, she'd laugh and say she was just planning for our future. I wanted to believe her. Then one evening, I came home and noticed something strange. A hotel receipt sitting halfway inside our kitchen trash can. 1 room, 2 nights. A hotel I'd never visited. When I asked about it, she grabbed it immediately and claimed it belonged to her friend. The explanation felt rehearsed. That was the first time my instincts started screaming. The setup happened 2 weeks later. I came home from work and found Selena sitting at the dining room table. Her face was red. Her eyes looked swollen from crying. Several printed photographs were spread across the table. My stomach dropped. Every picture showed me. Me entering a hotel. Me sitting across from a woman in a restaurant. Me hugging her goodbye. Only none of it had happened. The photos looked real. Dangerously real. How long? Selena whispered. I stared at the pictures. What? How long have you been cheating on me? I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insane. The woman in the photographs wasn't even someone I recognized. Selena slammed her hand against the table. Stop lying! Then she showed me screenshots, text messages, hundreds of them, supposedly between me and another woman. The language sounded nothing like me. The grammar was wrong, the phrasing was wrong, the timestamps were suspicious, but she already had her performance ready. Tears, shouting, accusations. Everything felt staged. Then she made a mistake. A tiny one. One of the screenshots showed a message sent while I was sitting beside her on a 5-hour flight 6 months earlier. I remembered the trip because we'd spent the entire flight watching movies together. The message couldn't have existed. That's when I knew. The evidence wasn't discovered. It was manufactured. I stayed calm. That seemed to frustrate her. Most people would panic, defend themselves, beg. I simply said, if that's what you believe, file for divorce. For a second, I saw something flash across her face. Excitement. Not heartbreak. Not anger. Excitement. The next morning, she moved into her mother's house. By the end of the week, she'd filed. The petition accused me of infidelity and demanded nearly everything: the house, the investments, the retirement accounts, even future consulting income. Her attorney attached the photographs and messages as evidence. I think they expected me to settle. Instead, I hired the most aggressive family law attorney in the state. Then I got to work. Unlike Selena, I understood digital evidence. Every image contains metadata. Every file leaves traces. Every fabrication leaves fingerprints. Within days, my forensic team uncovered the truth. The photographs had been altered using editing software. Several source images came from stock photo websites. The text messages originated from a fake messaging application designed specifically to create fabricated conversations. But the real bombshell came from cloud backups. Selena had accidentally synchronized her tablet with a shared home network months earlier. Hidden inside the backups were drafts, practice screenshots, photo editing files, notes detailing how she planned to prove I was cheating. She had literally documented the entire scheme. My attorney nearly fell out of his chair. Discovery was brutal. Selena's lawyer looked confident until our evidence arrived. Then the settlement offers started. First, she wanted mediation, then she wanted privacy. Then she wanted everything handled quietly. Funny how quickly people change when they're caught. I declined every offer. Court became inevitable. The hearing lasted less than a day. The judge reviewed the evidence, the fabricated messages, the edited photographs, the planning documents, the financial motive, the attempted prenup violation. Then came the question that changed everything. Mrs. Mercer, can you explain why your personal files contain instructions for creating false evidence of infidelity? Silence. Absolute silence. Her attorney looked defeated. Her mother started crying. And Selena? She just stared at the floor. The judge wasn't amused. The divorce was granted. The prenup remained fully enforceable. Instead of receiving a fortune, Selena walked away with what she'd entered the marriage with: a used hatchback, some furniture, a handful of personal accounts, nothing more. The judge also ordered her to reimburse a significant portion of my legal expenses. Outside the courthouse, her mother pointed at me and yelled, "You ruined her life." I finally responded, "No, she ruined her own." Then I walked away. The funniest part? 6 months later, I learned the real reason she'd done it. She'd already been seeing someone else. A real affair. The plan was simple: frame me for cheating, break the prenup, take the assets, leave with the money, and her new boyfriend. Instead, she lost both. The boyfriend disappeared the moment the money vanished, and the future she'd been planning collapsed overnight. My career taught me that evidence reveals the truth. My marriage taught me something else. When someone works desperately to make you look guilty, sometimes it's because they're hiding their own crimes. And sometimes the smartest thing you can do is stay quiet long enough to let them expose themselves. I thought the story was over after the divorce. I was wrong. 3 weeks after the ruling, my attorney called me. "You're not going to like this," he said. Those are never good words. Apparently, Selena wasn't accepting defeat. She'd spent months telling everyone I was an abusive, cheating husband. Now that the court had publicly exposed her lies, she was desperate to rewrite history. Her family helped. Her mother posted long rants online about how the legal system failed women. Her cousin claimed I had bribed the judge. Her brother started messaging my clients, hinting that I couldn't be trusted. One client forwarded me the message, then another, then another. The attacks weren't random. They were coordinated. What none of them realized was that interfering with someone's business after losing a court case is a terrible idea. My attorney collected everything: every message, every post, every email. And while we were doing that, another secret surfaced. One evening, I received a call from an unknown number. The woman on the line sounded nervous. "Are you Grant? Who's asking?" "My name is Rebecca. I think you need to know something." For the next 20 minutes, my world shifted again. Rebecca was the ex-girlfriend of Selena's affair partner. According to her, the affair hadn't started 6 months earlier. It had started before our wedding, months before. While Selena was crying about trust and signing the prenup, she was already sleeping with another man. I sat in silence. The betrayal somehow felt worse than everything else. The fake evidence, the divorce, the lies, all of it. Because it meant the marriage had been built on a foundation of deception from the very beginning. Then Rebecca dropped another bombshell. There were others. "What do you mean? There wasn't just one guy?" I felt my stomach twist. She sent screenshots, photos, messages, names. Not one affair, not two. At least 4 different men over the course of our marriage. One of them had even attended our anniversary party. I remembered shaking his hand, sharing drinks with him, laughing with him. The realization made me physically sick. But the biggest shock came a few days later. My former father-in-law contacted me privately. I almost ignored the message. I'm glad I didn't. We met for coffee. The man looked 10 years older than when I'd last seen him. He didn't waste time. "I owe you an apology." I said nothing. He slid a folder across the table. Inside were bank statements, transfers, credit card records, luxury purchases, hotel reservations, thousands and thousands of dollars. My money. Money Selena had secretly siphoned from joint accounts during our marriage. I stared at the documents. "Did you know about this?" He nodded slowly. "Not at first. But when I found out, I confronted her." "What did she say?" His expression hardened. "She told me it would be worth it once she got your assets." For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then he said something I never expected. I told her she was becoming a con artist. That conversation destroyed what little relationship remained between father and daughter. He eventually testified when the harassment case moved forward, and his testimony was devastating. By then, Selena's family was falling apart. Her brother blamed her. Her mother blamed everyone else. Relatives stopped taking sides once they saw the court documents. The lies were too obvious. The evidence was too overwhelming. One by one, people backed away. Then came the final twist. Nearly a year after the divorce, investigators contacted me. At first, I assumed it was related to the harassment case. It wasn't. During an unrelated financial investigation involving her affair partner, authorities uncovered evidence that Selena had helped falsify insurance claims and financial documents. Nothing massive, but enough. Enough to attract serious attention, enough to create criminal problems. I remember sitting in my living room after that phone call, the same living room she'd once tried to take from me, the same house she thought she'd own after framing me. Outside, rain tapped softly against the windows. For the first time in a long while, I felt nothing. No anger, no desire for revenge, just relief. Because people kept telling me I had won, but that's not what it felt like. Winning would have been never meeting her at all. Winning would have been getting those years back. Still, there was one thing I learned from the entire disaster. The truth doesn't always arrive quickly. Sometimes lies get applause, while honesty gets questioned. Sometimes the wrong person looks like the victim. And sometimes the people trying hardest to destroy you are quietly digging their own grave. I didn't ruin Selena's life. I simply stepped out of the way and let her choices catch up to her. Eventually, they always do.